Carl, thanks so much. Mr. Vice President, thank you so much for letting us here in your office today.
Good, Aim.
So let's start with the jobs report. A monster number this morning. This is a red-hot economy. Give me your sense of whether the administration thinks this can continue. How long can it continue?
Well, I guarantee you President Trump believes that we're just getting started in this economy. And frankly, it was back in 2016. The president said, look, you let people keep more of what they earn. You cut business taxes across this country, roll back federal red tape, unleash energy, fight for trade deals that put jobs and American workers first, that this economy had come roaring back. And here we are. April number, 263,000 jobs created. We're coming up on 6 million jobs created since Election Day. And the unemployment rate at a nearly 50-year low. This economy is roaring. And I think maybe most meaningful to the president and me is the fact that when we've seen wage growth over the last year, the most rapid wage growth in these numbers has been among working Americans, like the people I spent time with in Dearborn at the Ford factory, like the people I was just with in Norfolk. I mean, working Americans are winning in the Trump economy, and I couldn't be more proud.
So it's a hot economy. The Dow has been on a tear, with the exception of yesterday. The Dow has been on a tear this whole year. Isn't this when you really want to be raising interest rates, ultimately, to keep the economy from overheating, to help savers, to get things under control?
Well, not at all. In fact, I think the president suggested the opposite. This might be a time for us to be considering about lowering interest rates. But look, we just don't see any inflation in this economy at all. But you know, back when I was in Congress, we had a whole debate about the dual mandate of the Federal Reserve, and it might be time for us to consider that again. Is the fact that the Fed looks at full employment and monetary policy and inflation, and instead, by just looking at inflation, you'd make it clear there's no inflation happening here. The economy is roaring. This is exactly the time not only to not raise interest rates, but we ought to consider cutting.
So you'd like a single mandate for the Fed, just focus on employment?
It's something, you know, it's not something the president and I have talked about, but back during my days in Congress, we considered it. But just having the Fed just focus again on monetary policy and recognize that their job is to essentially manage that and watch inflation, because Eamon, you just don't see any inflation in this economy right now. And the fact that wages are growing, the fact that we're seeing jobs being created all over the country in businesses large and small should be an encouragement to every American, and I hope also to the people that operate our monetary policies as well.
So Herman Cain, Stephen Moore, you've had two of the president's picks now for the Federal Reserve Board flame out. Is the president just picking the wrong people, or what's going on here?
I think the president is very interested in bringing fresh ideas to the Federal Reserve Board. And I think as you see him make nominations in the future, he's going to be bringing people in that will bring kind of a renewed and fresh perspective. That's what both of those men represented. There's a process that we go through here in Washington, D.C. Respect Steve Moore's decision to withdraw. But what the president's really looking for is people that understand the dynamic approach to this economy that he's been putting into practice since the first days of this administration. And remember, it really is remarkable when you think about, just real quick, Eamon, you think it was early 2017, Larry Summers, the top economic advisor for the Obama administration, said we'd never get to 3% growth. He talked about you'd have to believe in the tooth fairy for that. Well, no, you just had to believe in President Trump's agenda for this economy. But if you cut taxes, if you get that business corporate rate down to a competitive level globally, just like we did, if you cut federal regulations, if you unleash American energy, and if you fight for the kind of trade deals that we've been able to negotiate with South Korea, that are being negotiated as we speak with China, the USMCA with Canada and Mexico, all of that is coming together to create this dynamic economy, and we're just getting started.
So what is the president looking for the Fed Board? Is it political loyalty to him personally? Is it a commitment to low interest rates? Is it a commitment to shake things up there? What does he want?
I think the president's looking for, I think he's looking for men and women to be appointed to the board of the Federal Reserve who are as fiercely committed to the free market as he is. The belief that this economy can expand at a rate that we haven't seen in many, many years. Look, we just came off. Absolutely is part of it, but it's just simply recognizing. Remember how many times, Eamon, we heard about the new normal in the last administration? An administration that the most powerful economy in the history of the world grew by less than 2% for 8 years. And now, the first quarter of this year, 3.2% economic growth, when you know the first quarter is always the toughest. The reality is this is a president who has a boundless confidence in the American people. He has a boundless confidence in the ability of this economy to exceed all expectations. And he's looking for men and women on the Federal Reserve Board who share that passion.